Hello, my name is Rachel Keene, and my group, Team Wild Gators, did our company analysis on United Airlines. I will start off by talking about the vision, mission, and SWOT of United Airlines. Nguyen will take over and start talking about strategy and competitor analysis. And lastly, Yuvi will talk about concepts and the conclusion. I first wanted to just tell you a little bit of something interesting I found about the company. Originally in the past, co-pilots were actually the ones tasked with taking care of passengers on planes. They were the ones that brought them lunches, and if there was any problems, the co-pilots had to take care of them. Also on these flights in the past, planes were not able to go very fast, and in turn they could not fly very high, which made plane rides pretty rough, and lots of passengers got airsick. So a man named Steve Stimson, who was a district manager of the company in San Francisco, realized this need for extra help on airplanes. He figured that co-pilots really had a little bit more important things to be doing than taking care of the passengers. So he mulled over this idea for a while of adding a male stewardess to planes. After speaking with a woman named Ellen Church, who happened to walk into the business, she claimed that a trained woman could do a much better job in that role than a man could. After speaking with her and speaking with the heads of the company, Stimson was able to get a 3-month trial run for the stewardess position. Ellen Church was the first one recruited. After that, as you can see on the picture on the right, these were the world's first 8 stewardesses in 1930. They were actually all recruited from hospitals, and they were all registered nurses. As you know, the stewardess service is still in effect today. Many airlines use it now, and as you can tell, it has been a success. I wanted to talk a little bit about the history of United Airlines. In 1929, they started out as the United Aircraft Transport Corporation. In 1930, they acquired some other air carriers and air transport companies. And not long after that, in 1931, they all formed the United Airlines company that we know today. Their headquarters are in Chicago, Illinois. They offer flights internationally. They have a pretty big global market, and they're one of the largest air carriers in the world. And most recently, in 2010, they actually merged with Continental Airlines, and they are now together to form United Continental Holdings. I wanted to tell you a little bit about achievements they've had over the years. Like I mentioned, in 1930, they instigated the first stewardess service. In 1933, they introduced the Boeing 247. This was the first plane that could actually fly across the United States without having any overnight stops or any transfers to other planes. It was considered the first modern airliner of its day. In 1937, they were the first airline to use electronic flight simulators to train pilots. Also, they were the first ones to use computers to plan flight paths. Few more achievements they've had. In 1957, they were the first airline to equip their entire fleet with airborne radar. In 1984, they were the first airline to fly to all 50 United States. In 1997, they formed the Star Alliance. This was the first truly global airline alliance. And I'll tell you a little bit more about them later on. In 2016, they were the first airline to begin use of commercial scale biofuel. A little bit about their vision. I wasn't able to find a very specific vision, but what I did find was that they want to win and they want to be the best. They want to stay a step ahead of the competition. They want to be a leader in the airline industry by providing excellent customer service. They want to make every flight a positive experience for customers, and they want to be recognized for embracing diversity and inclusion. A little bit of analysis about their vision. They do not explain their future customer market or product or technology focus. It's a very generic feel-good statement. They don't have any specifics about where they're going or what their plan is. It really does, their vision really does lack some direction. They don't provide any guidance for managers for making strategic decisions with this vision. They don't really explain where they're going. So their vision does need a little bit of work. For their mission, they want to connect people and unite the world. They're focused on customer service, teamwork, and innovation. They want to uphold the highest standards in safety and reliability. And they want to earn trust of employees and their customers. They want to also deliver warm and welcoming service. Their mission is memorable. They have a good slogan of uniting the world. It does explain kind of what they do, why they're here in the marketplace. It does explain the buyer needs they want to satisfy. And it does explain a little bit of how they're going to please those customers. It doesn't exactly specify what their services are or the specific markets that they want to serve. A few strengths that the company has are its vast network of operations. They have a very strong presence globally around the world, so this is a very good strength of theirs. They also have the strategic alliance I mentioned earlier called the STAR Alliance. This really helped with their international presence in the market. They've really been able to broaden their reach, and this is a very good strategic alliance that's really benefited them. They also have a great loyalty program which keeps customers with them over time and incentivizes customers to come to them because it gives them a little bit of rewards every time they come in and take a flight somewhere. They also have strong brand name recognition. Pretty much anyone's heard of the name United Airlines, so that is also a competitive advantage for them as well. They also provide exceptional customer service. Some weaknesses of the company include its recent financial performance. There have been a few specific customer incidents which are working against them and can hurt their reputation a little bit. They also have unionized employees, so this can make it more difficult to negotiate salaries and things like that with employees. Some opportunities the company has, there has been an increased use of airline travel recently. The global tourism industry has really been growing recently, and the travel industry itself obviously has been growing as well. As you see on the chart on the left, the United Nations has actually predicted the number of international tourist visits to double by 2020. So this is a very good market opportunity that I believe United Nations is in a great position to capitalize on. Also, they have noticed a growth of people traveling to regional airports instead of smaller ones. So this is another opportunity that the company plans on capitalizing on. They are actually going to plan on increasing their capacity at these regional airports to make up for the increase in demand. Some threats working against the company are negative publicity. I'm sure you've heard of some of the recent events in the news about a customer being dragged off a plane or an incident with a dog as well. So these are some threats that are definitely working against United Airlines, and they need to come up with ways to avoid incidents like this in the future. Another threat are increasing prices of oil, which can also decrease profits or increase prices of tickets. They also have competition from other major airlines, which is a major threat for them, and also competition from discount airlines that offer cheaper tickets. These are a few charts related to the company. The chart on the right, as you can see, is the domestic market share in 2017 of the major airlines. As you can see, American Airlines has the biggest chunk of 19.8% of the domestic market. Behind them is Delta Airlines with 16.7%, and lastly, it would be United Airlines with 14% of the market. As you can see, American and Delta have a little bit bigger chunk of the domestic market compared to United Airlines. And then over here we have a chart of the market share for flights between China and US in the beginning of 2017. As you can see, United Airlines actually has a pretty big chunk of this market, about 20.2%. Behind them are Air China and China Eastern Airlines. So they have a pretty big, strong foothold in the China-Asian flight market. So this is a good opportunity for them and possibly somewhere that they plan on growing in the future. Next, we have the stock chart. This stock chart compares United Airlines with Delta and American Airlines, as well as the S&P 500 here at the bottom. As you can see, over time, United Airlines has consistently performed lower than its competitors, Delta and American Airlines. And actually, one thing they are doing to resolve this issue recently is they plan on buying back about $2.5 billion worth of stock soon. So they are trying to bump up that stock price to get it up there with its competitors, American and Delta. Also, as you can see, there are patterns in the different stocks. As you can see, when Delta and Americans are having significant dips in value, United Airlines has similar movements. Here's another one where they are all three actually moving in similar directions. And again, here with the significant increase, and they exhibit similar movements. Also, the S&P in some instances also has similar movements, like here and over here and right here as well. So they do have some kind of, it does seem like these different companies are somewhat correlated, obviously, most likely because they're in the same industry. So, the most recent dip in stock price that we've seen has been attributed to United Airlines' announcement that they were going to increase capacity at the regional airports, what I was mentioning earlier. So critics of this are claiming that they believe that United Airlines is increasing capacity, but they are afraid that there's not going to be people to fill these extra seats that they're adding on. So they're afraid that if the seats aren't being filled, there's going to end up being price wars. So so that the different airlines are competing for the customers. So that is what caused this anticipated behavior is what caused the recent dip in the stock price. And Delta and American exhibited a similar dip, but it was much less significant than United Airlines. And then there was also a significant dip in price in the mid 2016. And from some research, I've found that this is attributable to some terrorist attacks or terrorist scares that had many people worried about going on flights or not traveling as much as they normally would have. So this affected all the different airlines significantly. There was also some concerns in the European market that were affecting them as well. So after this dip in price, most of the airlines were able to recover because of increased anticipation of traffic at airlines. So people were now becoming more comfortable with getting back on airlines after the terrorist attacks. And as you can see, over time for most of the companies, the stock value on average has been increasing over time. Alrighty. And now from here, Nguyen will take over and discuss strategy and competitor analysis. Thank you for watching.